Buzzsprout Ads is the easiest way to start advertising inside of podcasts. It's a completely self-service platform, so you can get your business in front of tens of thousands of podcast listeners within just 15 minutes. To start, go to buzzsprout.com/ads and click Start Creating Ads. Put in your email address and make sure that this is correct because we'll need to verify it before you can place your first ad. Now set a password, prove you're not a robot, and click Create Account. Next, choose the type of ad that you're creating. For most people, this is a product or a business, but if you are buying ads to promote a podcast, click Promote a Podcast. Since I'm creating an ad for my business, I'll select Promote a Product. Now, I'll fill out my product name and select the language that my ad will be in. This is so we only match you with podcasts and podcast listeners who speak the same language as your podcast advertisement. Now we've set up your account, we can create your first ad. Click Create Ad, and we'll start by adding our ad details. And as we fill these out, you can actually see the preview of how these will look in a podcast app, filling in over on the side. Headline, this is your main call to action. This will be a link to a product or business. And when we're dropping in the link, I'm going to use a bit.ly link. This way I can track exactly how many people clicked and took action on this podcast ad. I can add a bit more information with the description and finish off with some custom artwork. One thing to note here is this should be a square image so that it looks great inside of podcast apps. And click continue and we're ready for the audio for our ad. When I wrote the script for this ad, I wanted to include a few things. The name of the business, obviously, what the business does, the benefit to the listener, especially if they buy the product I'm talking about, and last but not least, a call to action. This is mostly click the link in the show notes or to go and make a purchase. Now here's the audio for my ad for Buzzsprout.
You love listening to podcasts, but have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Maybe you want to build a brand, grow your business, or are looking for an excuse to talk about your favorite hobby. Whatever your reason for making a podcast, Buzzsprout is the place to start. Since 2009, Buzzsprout has helped over 300,000 people launch their own podcasts. Buzzsprout walks you step by step through the whole process and will give you powerful tools to start, grow, and monetize your podcast. Ready to get started? Click the link in the show notes to get our free step-by-step guide to starting your podcast today.
All right, now I can target my ad to the right audiences. I can target based on demographics, whether or not I'm comfortable with my product being associated with profanity in podcasts, and then we can target 3 podcast genres that match our product. Now there's some overlap between the audience for that genre and what my product does. Next, I'll review my ad terms and pay for my ad. Once I click pay, Buzzsprout Ads will automatically start matching my product with the right podcasts. It's pulling these podcasts from over 120,000 podcasts that are hosted on Buzzsprout. Now let's see what this looks like over on the podcaster side. This is my podcast, and I can see I have some new ad opportunities under monetization. And there's the ad we just created. Now as a podcaster, I can listen to the ad, review the copy that we wrote earlier, or even click through to check out the product before I accept the opportunity. All right, and once I do, I click Accept Ad and insert it into my podcast episodes. This is a good time to point out that all ads bought on Buzzsprout Ads are placed as mid-rolls. That means that the ads will go in the middle of the podcast episode. Studies have shown these are the most effective podcast ads. And as a podcaster, I can also decline ads or remove them if they ever aren't a good fit. Let's jump back to the advertiser dashboard where we created this ad. Here's how my dashboard looks after a few hours. I've matched with a lot more podcasts, and 42 of them actually have my ad in their episodes right now. I can click into any one of these podcasts and listen to the exact moment where it transitions from their episode to my ad.
We'll be back after a quick break.
You love listening to podcasts, but have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Maybe you want to build a brand, grow your business.
All right, I'm going to come back tomorrow once this ad is completed to show you what that looks like. And here's how my dashboard looks after my ad has completed. I can see all the podcasts that played my ad. I can review the reasons that some of the shows may have declined it. And there's an option to run the ad again. And if I have more than one ad in my ad account, I can review the details to make sure I know which ad this was. Well, I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions, reach out to support@buzzsprout.com or leave a comment down below. We'll be sure to help out. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep podcasting.